Hello, my name's Beilman. My book, America, Don't You Just Love It, was recently published by Alien Buddha Press and is available now on Amazon. I wanted to read a few pages from the last story. The book has 7 short stories, and they take place in the recent past, the present, and the near possible future. I'll leave it up to you to decide whether you think the future as seen in my book will come to pass. But I based it on some recent historical events and unfortunately has a kind of dystopian feel. So anyway, I'll leave you to be the judge of whether any of those stories could come true. Anyway, the story I'm going to read from is the last story in the book. It's called Prisoner 410-113, and it is about a woman who was sentenced to death for illegally miscarrying her child. So, without further ado, I'll start reading. The state protectors led her at a rapid pace. At the end of the hallway was a staircase. Above the base of the stairwell, a sign hung. "Exit to gallows," it read. As they ascended the stairs, a canopy of gray clouds appeared. The early autumn air warmed the stairwell with a balmy breeze. Prisoner 410-113 squinted in the dull glow as her head crested the top of the stairs. Her stomach turned at the sight before her. In front of the prisoner rose 5 gallows, on which 2 persons hung, their torsos suspended through open trapdoors. Both wore orange jumpsuits like hers. The black man at the end hung limply, while the arms of the man nearest to her, most likely an illegal immigrant, twitched, his eyes bulging and his face turning purple. Behind the man stood the executioner, arms akimbo. He wore a state protector's uniform, although he was shorter with darker hair than the 2 state protectors who accompanied her to the gallows. Beneath the hanging men, in a large field, a sea of mostly white faces laughed and conversed. The aroma of fresh popcorn and roasted peanuts wafted through the air. At the rear of the crowd, a camera crew filmed the festivities for state-sanctioned television and internet broadcasts. The state protectors hoisted prisoner 410-113 up the remaining stairs. Once she was in full view of the throng, the state protectors halted, demanding she stand on her own feet. The crowd raised a raucous cheer upon seeing the condemned. The prisoner's heart raced. Her breath shortened. She grew faint, her knees buckling again. She saw a woman close to the gallows holding a program in front of a red-headed, rosy-cheeked girl. "She's up next," the woman said, pointing to a picture of the prisoner. "Now you'll get to see what happens to someone who kills her unborn child." The state protectors gripped prisoner 410-113's arms tighter. "Hold steady," the one on her right said. "You don't have much longer." Just then, the legs of the most recently hanged prisoners kicked one last time. His eyes remained open, and he stared into the void, his swollen tongue protruding through his lips. The executioner approached the hanging prisoner, felt for a pulse, and feeling none, signaled his death. At this signal, applause resounded throughout the field. Then, almost as an afterthought, the executioner turned toward prisoner 410-113 and the state protectors with her. He beckoned them forward. "Next," he shouted. The state protectors led prisoner 410-113 to the middle gallows. She struggled to walk with them, stumbling halfway. As she reached the center gallows, members of the crowd, like parts of a single heaving organism, pumped their fists in the air, chanting, "String her up, string her up, string her up." Amidst the crowd's cacophony, the executioner placed the noose around the prisoner's neck. He remained silent throughout, offering her no option for final words. Surprisingly, she found his hands gentle as he tightened the rope against her throat. Once the executioner had ensured the noose was secure, he turned from the prisoner. He strode to the trapdoor lever and glanced at his watch. He announced the date and time and steadied his hand on the lever. Standing upon the trapdoor, prisoner 410-113 breathed deep. She knew her life had run its course. Her heartbeat slowed, and she felt strangely calm. Fear is pointless now, she thought. Her main desire was for her death to be quick and relatively painless. Looking one last time at the sky, she spotted a kettle of turkey vultures drafting on the currents above the field. Will I be left here to feed them, she wondered. Then, before the trapdoor dropped from beneath her, prisoner 410-113 cleared her mind. She thought nothing of her parents, nothing of her siblings, nothing of the man whose child she had miscarried. She thought nothing of the violent rioting and political turmoil of her childhood. Nothing of the relentless Keep America Great indoctrination of her teenage years, and nothing of the endless stream of incarcerations and executions of her adulthood. Instead, she savored the present moment. She gazed upon the crowd of people clamoring for her death. Women wore summer dresses with bright flower prints. Men wore neatly pressed white shirts and dark slacks. Their children wore khaki pants and polo shirts. They celebrated her execution in their Sunday finest, munching on popcorn and peanuts as they howled for her blood. One person in particular stood out among the rest. Near the back of the crowd was a man in a red and white cap holding a placard high above his head. "America is for Americans," it read. At that moment, prisoner 410-113 heard a clatter to her left. The trapdoor opened, and for a fraction of a second, she seemed to float weightlessly. Then, as she fell and reached the rope's end, the crowd exploded in an orgasm of applause and cheers. Still, before prisoner 410-113's neck snapped and she lost consciousness forever, she understood why the crowd exhibited such joy at her demise. It was simple, really. They had, at last, what they had always wanted. They had their country back. The end. In any case, that is the end of the story, Prisoner 410-113. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll consider buying America, Don't You Just Love It? As I said, published by Alien Buddha Press and available on Amazon. Again, my name is Louis Beilman, and I thank you for listening to my story. Thank you.